Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Just a heads up, everyone, that my new book, Entangleism, The Small Science and Big Art of Loving Your Life, is out and available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. I encourage you to check it out. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Kaneza Schaal, who is a world-renowned both theater and opera artist and director. Kaneza, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aaron. Happy to be with you.
So I am so excited just to be able to talk with you, give our audience some insight into your extraordinary artistry and storytelling that you bring to stages and to audiences that is really just extraordinary. And so first, I would just if we could just start off for the audience, could you just kind of share what is the scope of kind of what you feel your role is and what you do as an artist and director?
I think the role of a director is to facilitate conversations. We facilitate conversations between audiences and stages. We facilitate conversations between all the artists who are working all together to pull off a production. And we facilitate conversations between culture and between periods of time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think, especially in this day and age and these times of vast divisiveness, at the least, shall we say, and all that, it seems that these types of experiences that especially bridge time and cultures, et cetera, can be really extraordinary. And so, kind of along those lines, this amazing work that you're doing with Detroit Opera. Can you kind of just share a little bit about, especially America at 250 in the season and Highway 1 USA down in the Valley? Share with us a little about what we could expect, what you're looking forward to.
I think you said it so well, Aaron. This is a challenging time, no matter who you are, no matter who you are. And it's certainly a challenging time to hold on to a sense of patriotism, no matter who you are. But when I think about the city of Detroit and when I think about this music, I am so proud to be an American. Let me tell you about the music. So, Highway 1 is written by William Grant Still. Highway 1 USA is the full title, is written by William Grant Still, who is one of America's great composers.
And I just have to put in a little thing that our eldest son's middle name he's named after William Grant Still, Noah Still Dworkin.
Bless you. And
So
bless
yeah, so he's
you.
as a composer, he's played such a role in so many people's lives, so many works, but very much so here.
Yeah, and I hadn't realized that there was this one point that his great symphonic work that's highly celebrated, Afro-American Symphony, that it was the most performed American symphony. And we're talking 1930 to 1950.
Right. Yeah.
So his operas are less frequently performed, so it's a real honor to get to tend this music and bring it to life now. And it tells the story of a hardworking American family sending a kid off to college. That's really what the story is about. And a exquisite love between a husband and wife who are trying to find their way in the struggles of being Americans. And also, like Highway 1 down in the valley, it tells the story of working people, and it is written by Kurt Weill. And he believed so much in opera and in music reaching many people that he actually didn't compose this opera for the stage. He composed it for radio. And so we get to do this fun, challenging translation of a piece that wasn't written for the stage, a piece that was written for radio onto the stage.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And so when we take like say Highway 1, how do you kind of I loved how you put that you for you to tend to like to and I kind of read from that kind of caretake and as you bring it to the stage and just wondering do you, well, number one, do you have a kind of goal for the audience? Do you want the audience to leave where you feel, you know what, if they leave in this way or changed in this way or informed in this way, empowered in this way, et cetera, that will be a success? And or do you see any role that you have of bringing his story to today? So just kind of curious, trying to delve into your artistic sensibility and intention.
I really believe in the timelessness of this music of both composers, and I trust audiences deeply to take what they need and what they showed up to take from an experience. With that being said, Still and William Grant Still and Kurt Weill are both composers and men who understood margins very well. Still as an African American composer who was systematically excluded from the canon and barred from opportunities due to race, even at a time where he was world renowned as the best American symphonic composer. um, and also Kurt Weill, who escaped Nazi Germany and found refuge in exile in America. And so both of them knew more than their share about exile and both deeply cared about Americans, about all Americans. And so I think in thinking about getting to stage this work and getting to stage it in Detroit, to me, it's about to sing this music in Detroit, this place that, against all odds, a place where more than anywhere in the world deserves to just give up on the American dream. The people came, they left. You know what I mean? Like anywhere in the world deserves to be like, burn it to the ground. But this place where, in spite of atrocious capitalist vengeance, there's a place where there's still this ember of faith in a sober American dream, not the gilded waste of the past, but this mighty belief in the wellness of all, and that if you work hard, you should be able to build a life. And my God, what better prayer for 2025 than to sing this music in your fine city?
Awesome, awesome. I love how you just articulated that. It's literally still resonating in my ears and in my mind and my heart. I'm curious as you kind of talk about that and sharing the passion for these works, which everyone must see. Is there? I know that there are a lot of people across many communities that may feel conflicted about this next year and the celebration and America 250 and what it means to some people or other people and people feeling conflicted while loving our country, but if someone loves a nation but feels alienated from it and or where it's changing or shifting or they feel not reflecting them in certain ways. Curious either how you are thinking or approaching this idea of celebrating us and our history, and or any suggestions you have for others as they think about and potentially struggle with how to manifest that celebration for themselves.
You know, I think how we gather matters so much. How we gather in real space, in real time with one another. This model of democracy that we're following is built on a participatory society. And I think that if we use this form of opera well, at its greatest, theater, opera, these are models of participatory society. And so I think the question is, how do we ensure the class diversity inherent to a sober American dream in an opera house, that we gather representative publics and that we extend the level of invitation that it takes to get past years and years and years of disinvitation. I had a great time. The last piece I did in Detroit was Blue, and I got to work with some of Detroit's magician level exquisite dancers, including Queen Gabby. It was a real honor, and many of the artists had been like, why would I go in that building? You know what I mean? And with good reason. And so I think there's a real question about invitation, and I really hope that both of these operas is that we are taking on the uphill invitation after years of disinvitation.
Awesome, awesome. So, unfortunately, we are just about out of time, but I always like to ask of all of my guests this work, the passion you have for what you are able to do every day, right? It so carries through, but there has to be tougher days, days where it seems like something's not going to come together, or the complexities of a production and all of the various fires that can arise. And just wondering, as a leader in the arts, are there any mechanisms or things that you do that get you past those toughest of times or obstacles that might even seem like they can't be overcome?
I always think about and try to set for myself in advance of any project, what am I more excited about? What am I more turned on by? What am I more interested in than how terrified I am of the obstacles that can at many times feel insurmountable ahead? And for me, with this piece, the history of classical music and the history of opera are not exactly the same. However, to make this point quickly, um, the history of classical music, for example, has been so class washed, like as if it were a form made by the rich for the rich. And yes, patronage has always been part of the backbone of Western arts, but the fact is, cultural innovation has always come from the margins. Brahms lived in a slum. Beethoven's family was destitute and his father was in and out of jail. Haydn was a self-taught peasant. Bach was an orphan. And so I think there's this way that we've lost sight of, in terms of how we tell the story of some of these forms, how much cultural innovation comes from the margins. And as someone who identifies deeply as from the margins, it means so much to me. And that excites me no matter what the obstacles are, to know that the force that we bring into these forms is the force of building the future.
Kaneza Schaal, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our stages, for our audiences, for our art form. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. I can't wait to be in your city.
Just a heads up, everyone, that my new book, Entangleism, The Small Science and Big Art of Loving Your Life, is out and available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. I encourage you to check it out.